Hello lovely book dragons and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Joana and I love to talk about books on this channel, specifically fantasy books. And today I am sharing with you my January book haul. Just quite the stack. So I haven't done a book haul on this channel in I think years now, and I wasn't gonna show you every book I've acquired since my last one because I wouldn't even remember, but I have decided that as I gather a certain amount of books, I will show them to you in book hauls. I don't know if I will be doing monthly book hauls because I tend to not buy that many books per month, but January was a different story. I went to London and with my friends Abby and Sophia, we went to the book warehouse, and when you get all these books at 70% off, I mean, you just have to buy them. You just have to. And then there were some pre-orders. There were some books that I got delivered to Sophia's house because it was just easier that way. So I did gather quite the stack of books for the month of January. So let's talk about them. If you are new here on the channel, I am someone who does not really like to know much about the books before I go into them. So I will not give you synopses for these books, but probably just like a few bullet points, which is, I hear about a synopsis one time and then I forget it, but I remember enough intrigued me to want to read the book, which is how I decide which ones I pick up, which ones I don't. So that's kind of what I can give you. The first book on the top of my stack is The Inheritance by Robin Hobb and Megan Lindholm. So this is like the same author, Robin Hobb and Megan Lindholm. These are the same person. This is a book it's an anthology of tales from the Six Duchies and beyond. So this is just a continuation of stories in the realm of the Elderlings. For when I'm done with the realm of the Elderlings, I think it was Madison hauled this or put this on a TBR recently, and I thought, I don't own this book yet. That needs to be corrected immediately. And here it is. This I'll probably just read at the end of the Realm of the Elderlings, at the end of that journey, to have it on deck when I am missing the Six Duchies, when I'm missing Robin Hobb, and yeah, that's why I got it. I love these covers. I am collecting all of them, and so it just felt like a natural progression to get this book. Next up is a book that I saw at the book warehouse when I was with Abby and Sophia, and I owned this on Kindle, but I don't know, I felt like for 70% off, I had to get it as a paperback, and that is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is a second chance romance, but apparently it's like a very well done second chance romance. Everyone who has picked this up and who doesn't like that trope has actually ended up really enjoying this book, and it's been on my radar for a long time. Like I said, I bought it in a Kindle sale for like 99 cents, and then when I saw the paperback, I thought, okay, I have to bring this home with me. I have a tiny romance shelf that's really, really small because I tend to either just listen to my romances on audio or read them on my Kindle. But sometimes when I get these good deals or when people buy romances for me, then I put them on my romance shelf, which is very, very small. But hey, another addition to that shelf. Next up is a book that it doesn't really make sense to have gotten it, but it does make sense to have gotten it, and that is Demon in White by Christopher Rocchio. Now, have I started the Sundial series? No. But 70% off, I had to get it. Plus, I am struggling to find these books in these editions, like in this format of paperback. So if you have, I have book 1 and book 3 now. So if you know where I can get my hands on all the other ones that are this size, please let a girl know. I'm trying. Also, I don't want to get them all before I even know if I like the series. So I have book 1. I'm going to read that. And then this one was 70% off. So even if I ended up not liking the series, which I don't think is going to happen, but if I ended up not liking the series, this was only a few pounds, so it's okay anyway. But yeah, I bought this one. Abby saw it. She's like, Joanna, I think you might want this. And I was like, yes, I do. I need to get to Sun Eater this year. This is a series, I think it's sci-fantasy. I think the main character is not a good guy or something. I don't know much, but I just know that my friends Scott and Alex absolutely love this series. I've heard so many other content creators rave about this series, about how great it is, and it's just a series that I want to start as soon as possible and see what I think of it myself. Next up is a book that I thought, okay, this cover is stunning, but I'm not going to pick this up. I have no interest in this story. And then my friend Abby read it, and she, when I was visiting with them, she kept on saying, oh my gosh, that book is like amazing, I loved it, 5 stars, I just kind of want to reread it, and no book compares to it. And I was like, dang, from Abby, that's like such high praise. So of course I had to buy it the second it came out, and that is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. There we go. Like this cover, I mean, it's just so pretty with these mushrooms and stuff. So like I said, I wasn't planning on picking this up. However, because of Abby and her ravings, and now Sophia has read it as well and really liked it, I picked it up for myself, and I'm going to read this. So this, all I know is that this is a woman who is going to a university, I think, and she needs to right? An Encyclopedia of Fairies, I think, and she's partnered up with someone who is her arch nemesis in this area of research. I think that's literally what I think this is about. If it's not, then I guess I will let you know when I have read it. But it's short. I think this is classified as cozy fantasy, so it just felt like, okay, this is good to have. I'm reading a lot of heavy epic fantasy series, so a little bit of cozy fantasy in the midst will do me well. Another January release. I had to get this because of the cover and the title, and that is of course God Killer by Hannah Kenner. Like, excuse me, look at this cover. It is so pretty. And I think the end pages, yeah, the end pages were stunning as well. I just, wow. This book, I saw the cover and I saw God Killer, and I have no idea what else this is about. I assume that this is about a girl or woman or person who kills gods. And that sounds incredible. It sounds fun. To write something like that in such a short book, I'm very intrigued by what Hannah Kenner is gonna do here. So I will let you know once I've read it. I needed this cover for my shelves. Honestly, this cover is like, it's my autumnal aesthetic in a cover. Had to get it. Here it is. I'm going to be reading this one very soon here and let you know what I think of it. Next up is a sequel of a book that I haven't read, but it was in the 50% hardback sale at Waterstones, and Sophia picked it up with me, and that is Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sulian Tan. This is a sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I have not yet read Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I do own it. It's right on the shelf right here. This is a duology, so I thought, you know what, even if I ended up not really loving them, these have stunning covers. And as Sophia taught me, book buying and book reading are two different hobbies, so I'm kind of embracing that for this year, and I love this cover so much. All I know is that the first book follows a girl who's the daughter of the moon goddess, but the moon goddess is not supposed to have a daughter, so I think she's in exile, and then something happens and she's no longer in exile. I assume that's what it is about. Of course, I have no idea what this one is about, but I do want to read these. These sound like they're just fun and different from high epic fantasy. And I heard that this one is, some places categorized as YA and in some places as adult. So it probably is adult that reads a little bit more like YA, or a very good entry point into the adult genre if you are a YA reader. It's probably that kind of series. So yeah, I think it will be nice and refreshing when I do pick this up. And this is Asian inspired fantasy, and I do tend to really, really enjoy those stories because they're different from, you know, just a classic Western stories that we tend to get to read. Next up is a book that was a little bit popular, I think last year or the year it came out, and that is Among Thieves by MJ Kuhn. However, the reason I picked this up, I've heard people talk about this. I had a vague interest in it because I think this is about thieves. That's literally all I know. I think this follows thieves. That's all. I mean, that is intriguing to me. The cover was intriguing, but the reason I actually picked it up physically is because this is the Goldsboro edition, and it was there for 70% off. Like, someone dropped this off there. Like, look at those edges. And this is number 1289. It's a signed edition, and we saw it there, and we're like, okay, one of us has to take this home. And then I brought it home. Here it is, 70% off. It's not very big. Again, I do tend to like that not every fantasy book has to be 900 pages. I do love 900-page fantasy books, don't get me wrong. But sometimes it's just nice to have something short that you can pick up, cleanse your palate, and move on to bigger things, literally bigger books. But yeah, Thieves, I think that could be fun. I don't know anything else about it. I have the audiobook from Script, so I can just read this whenever I feel like it. The next two books in this stack are literally Sam, both Sams, Tom Tower Sam and Griff Reed Sam, have me interested in this author. And the thing is, I don't even know why, because I haven't, maybe it's from like discussions we've had. Is it from a video from Sam and from posts from other Sam? I'm not entirely sure. Of course, everyone I mentioned, by the way, isn't linked in the description of this video, so you should go check them out because they have lovely channels as well. But anyway, the books I'm talking about are Sundial and The Last House on Needless Street, both by Catriona. I don't know how you say this name. Ward. Something like that. I don't know. This is a name that always bamboozles me because I know there's a letter you drop, and I think, is it the O you drop? I'm not entirely sure. I've heard loads of reviews for The Last House on Needless Street, not just from both Sams, but from other people who have absolutely loved this book. I think this is horror, and I don't really read horror all that much. I think both of these classify as horror, but I did want to kind of branch out, and I mean, hardcover 70% off. This cover is stunning, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get both of them. I've heard that this one is absolutely fantastic, so I don't know anything about it. I don't know, literally, I know nothing about this except that it's fantastic. And then this one, just the cover is gorgeous. And I think Sam ended up really, really liking this one as well. So, This is all I know. It's not very much, but I did want to branch into horror a little bit this year, and then I have 2 books here on my shelves by an author who I've heard really rave reviews about, and so I can discover for myself if this is a genre for me, or if at least this author is for me. Next up is a book that was there again at the 70% sale, and I bought this one because I heard Petrik rave about this book when it first came out. He was championing this book like none other, and that is The Hand of the Sun King by J.T. Greathouse. I know nothing about this anymore. Like, I don't remember synopsis, I don't remember anything. I just remember that when this came out, Petrik was championing it on, and he was like, everyone needs to read this. So yeah, I don't really remember. Let me actually have a look at what this is about. Oh, so I think this is about a person who is stuck between protecting their family and protecting the empire. So yeah, this sounds incredible. Again, I think this is, yeah, Asian-inspired fantasy, which I tend to love, like I said. I don't know anything about a sequel, but I do know that this hardcover was stunning, 70% off. Petrik really recommends it. It felt like a pretty safe bet. The next 2 books I can actually tell you more about. Next up, we have a book that, oh boy, did I struggle to find this book. And that book is The Lonesome Crown by Brian Lee Durfee. Now, this book was impossible to find. I think it's still impossible to get on my Amazon. This book just is sold out everywhere. I had to chase this down. First of all, I was really sad when it was announced that there was not going to be a hardcover for this book, because I got the first 2 books in hardcover. Should have gotten them in the big paperbacks, but I didn't. I got them in hardcover, and now this one won't match, which is a little bit sad, but it's also okay. You know, maybe one day we'll have a hardcover. Maybe one day I can get my hands on the paperbacks. It doesn't really matter because the cover is stunning and the story is incredible. This is the 3rd book and the 3rd and final book in the 5 Warrior Angels trilogy by Brian Lee Durfee, of course. And the first book is The Forgetting Moon, which I have read and absolutely loved so much. And I was actually waiting to reread that book and then read book 2 and then read book 3. So it's why I hadn't really continued on with the series, because I knew I would have to reread them anyway, because there's a lot of intricacies in the plot and in the characters and in the politics, and I didn't want to forget. So I wanted to just wait, reread that first one, read the second one, and read this one when it came out. I know the audiobook for this is coming out later in the year, so I'm going to be waiting for that audiobook because I loved listening to these on audio and immersion reading them. But yeah, this one was very hard to get my hands on. Sophia found a store online that had like 6 of them left, and I snatched it up. I got it sent to her place, and that's all. That is all, because I needed to get this book. I needed it on my shelves. I love the 5 Warrior Angels trilogy. At least the first book I read, I loved it, and I hear that they only get better and better. So I fully trust Brian Lee Durfee with his series to become a new favorite this year when I read it. And yeah, I'm so excited. The first book follows a bunch of main characters, and we have court intrigue, we have secret passageways, we have spies, we have everything in that book, and it's just so incredibly good. If you love grimdark fantasy, you have to give this one a try. I really do think that if you love Game of Thrones, you will have a very high chance of really liking this series as well. And yeah, I just love the series, and I can't wait to restart it and continue on and finish it off and see what Brian Lee Durfee has in store for us, because oh boy. Speaking of a Game of Thrones, speaking of A Song of Ice and Fire, I also had to chase this book down, and that is A Storm of Swords by George R. R. Martin. Now, do I own A Storm of Swords in like 5 different editions? Yes I do. Did I really need this edition? Yes I did, because these are the hardback reissues. And I have all these editions of this book, right, of this series. I'm going to be filming a My Song of Ice and Fire collection video very soon here on the channel. But we have paperbacks, we have leather bounds, we have all these editions where I'm definitely not going to annotate in. I'm not going to write in these. And then a few years ago, I decided to find a set of A Song of Ice and Fire books that I would be comfortable annotating. And I could have gone for the traditional hardcovers, the US hardcovers, and you know, the yellow and green and whatever they all are, and blue and red and white, you know? And I decided, no, that's boring. I don't like that. I already have a colorful A Song of Ice and Fire shelf. I want like a more like white, muted A Song of Ice and Fire shelf. So I decided these hardback reissues are perfect for that. I should be getting these. I should be collecting these because they're beautiful and they're hardcover, so they're going to be okay to write in, and to like they're going to be heavy to carry. This book is heavy. This is a weapon of mass destruction. But, you know, I decided that these are the editions I wanted to annotate in. These editions are out of print. And when I realized that, somehow silly me had gotten A Clash of Kings and A Feast for Crows. I have a Game of Thrones. I have another edition that I read in, and I didn't necessarily want the first book again. So I thought I have this other edition that kind of matches the aesthetic of these. It can look nice next to them on the shelf, so I don't need to have this first book in that edition. So I was like, okay, I'll just go from A Clash of Kings to A Dance with Dragons and just get them in these editions. But there's no rush to buy them. Well, there was rush, Joanna. There was rush past Joanna, because these are out of print now and I cannot find them anywhere. So now I own 2, 3, and 4. And thank God I got this one. This one was on sale on eBay. It was the only one for a decent price, and this one is like, it's wrapped in this like library plasticky thing, which I'm really happy about, because that means the cover is super well protected. The pages are a bit yellowed, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm just so happy that I could get my hands on A Storm of Swords. This one is my favorite book in the series. This one is probably honestly, it's probably my favorite. It's hard to say because I've only read it once, so I'm going to reread it this year. But this is like in the top 3 of my favorite fantasy books of all time, regardless of series, of anything. I love this book so much. And yeah, so now the only thing I need to find is another copy of A Dance with Dragons that kind of matches these, because the one I have is a signed edition. So I'm not going to write in that. So that's all I need now. But I got this one for the Song of Ice and Fire read along, so I could annotate it. And I'm just so excited. And I'm so happy I found this. I'm so happy I found this, and that it is in good condition, and that I love it. I'm so happy. I'm so happy with this. There you go, guys. That is my book haul for January. Let me know in the comments down below if you have read any of these books or what you thought of them. I don't know. Anything you want to let me know. If you just want to let me know that you were here, you can leave a dragon emoji. And until next time, happy reading.